Hello, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing just fine. You're very reliable.
I I try to be what's the word? Not timely. I'm trying to think of there's a more sophisticated word for punctual. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah. And here I am.
There you are. Any prelims before we get started that you want to talk about, or just set
No,
anything
I,
up, or
I,
just
I just, I hope to be open and honest and
all right?
sincere and not take it too seriously.
That's always a good. That's a good attitude to have. Just like play the game you want to play the way you want to play it. It's
Right.
kind of the same way. All right. Well, I'm not really I'm looking at my phones, my computer's to the side, but I can't really see the chat all that well. But I think it's best to do it like you did when you interviewed me and just hold off on the chat questions until the end. Get through the questions we have already written down, plus the couple I came up with after the fact that are
Okay.
not. And my questions are not strat related; they're more just personal
Okay.
related or societal related, or what do you want to call it?
Sure.
Entertainment related, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
All right. So first of all, where were you born and raised? What is your age? And if there's anything else you want to tell us about your background that might give insight to the viewers.
I was born in Jamaica Hospital in Jamaica, New York. That's in Queens. As a baby, I lived in Great Neck in an apartment with my parents. As a toddler and preschooler in Plainview, Long Island. Uh, Grew up in New York. Did the Beatles thing. I mean, I could go on. Uh, Became a mental health counselor, professor. Had a good career, and then starting around the year 2001, came down with major depressive disorder, and that's been about it. That's been about the story of my life. I putted around for another 10, 12 years in my work, still able to do twice the amount of work as anybody else, and I was impaired.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
uh, I wasn't very impressed. uh, I mean, it's the whole life. The life. It's been a life of, fortunately, personally, not too much trauma, but collectively, a life starting with the JFK assassination of trauma.
Mm. You actually, that was a teaser for something later on I was going to ask you. So you said you were a mental health counselor. Is that correct?
Yes.
Were you ever a psychiatrist or just a
No. A
counselor? Okay.
psychiatrist has an MD. I have a
Okay.
PhD.
Okay.
They can prescribe. They're a physician. They
Mm-hmm.
they can prescribe medicine. I
Okay.
can't.
Right. Okay. All right. That's good to know. Get some good background going here. All right, now as we turn our attention to Strat-O-Matic, which is the main gist of the thing,
Absolutely.
you first heard about Strat-O-Matic.
From two friends they were in my class. I think we were in sixth grade. My friend had the 69 set. I thought it was the coolest thing I ever saw, and I finally convinced my father to buy me the old timer set.
Mm,
And from there, it's a long history, and we could talk about
right.
so many things. But a Reader's Digest is that I quit playing at age 16 when I got this girlfriend, my first real girlfriend. And
That can make you change a lot of things.
yeah, yeah. In fact, even my a close friend of mine, a guy, expressed objection to the fact that I wasn't spending time with him anymore.
Oh, how about that?
But these things seldom work out. Sometimes you hear about someone marrying their childhood sweetheart. Good for them.
Right.
But I gave it up. I did try to pick it up three distinct times after that. One was in 1981, 82. I remember the Brett 390 cards, so I guess that would
Right.
be 80.
Right, 1980. Yes.
So in 81, I'm working now after getting my bachelor's, and I'm playing it a little.
Okay.
And in fact, I have a memory of being at the T. You know what the T is in Boston?
The T.
The
No, I do
train line.
not.
Train line.
Oh, train. Okay, I'm not. I've never been to Boston, so I don't know.
Yeah. And I remember waiting for a train and thinking about my league and the game and the fact that I had Brett who hit 390. But
Oh,
I
wow.
didn't continue playing it. And then I tried once in the early 90s. And this was the first time I saw that the cards came not collated,
Right.
that you had to break them up, and I was disgusted by it, and it put
Yeah.
a bad taste in my mouth about the whole damn thing. Even though I looked, and I saw Bonds was just amazing. Now I don't
Mhm.
know what year I had. I think it might have been his biggest home run year. What did he hit? Something like
That was
300 homers one season.
73 in 2001.
Yeah, I mean his card was just insane.
Hmm.
Uh,
And there was a couple of years where he was carded, but his name was not on there. So it
I
was some
heard
kind of
about that. You
and
told
there was some things with scab players the same way. I was like, there's a blank card here with no name, and I had to go to the stats and figure out who it was.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
were mentioning that, and
Yeah.
that
And
was
it's
a nice.
interesting you brought up 81 because you
Yeah.
had the 80, but 81 was the strike season in baseball.
Oh, yeah,
And if
yeah.
you remember, they they played the regular season out during when they were on strike with Strat-O-Matic. They were kind of simulating what would have
Oh,
happened.
yeah.
So I do
There
kind
was
of remember
a
that.
group of people were doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that was kind of interesting.
right,
So,
right. Anyway, just quickly from 81, then I dropped it again in like 82. So
oh
these are
wow.
just quick spurts. I started thinking about it around 2010. I would often go to the site, saw the computer game, wasn't interested, and
Right.
when the pandemic hit,
Hmm.
I made sort of an existential decision that I am going more than ever. There couldn't be a better reason, uh, but to play Strat-O-Matic,
Yeah. I heard
and
their
I've been
sales
doing
went
it.
up quite a bit during the pandemic.
What's that? It
I heard
did
their sales went up quite a bit during the pandemic.
absolutely, and
So
yeah.
so if anything good came out of the pandemic, maybe that was it. I don't know.
Uh, I'd have to think about that.
Yeah. All right. So how you I know you're the way you play Stratomatic, the rules you use and the methods you use
Yeah.
and whatnot. It's a ebb and flow that changes on a whim. You're like, oh, I feel like doing this today. I feel like
Well,
don't
no, no,
doing
no.
this
I don't
rule.
do. Wait a minute. Are
Yeah.
you accusing me of changing one day to another?
No, not one day. I didn't mean to by day, but I mean just like sometimes you would do you started out at advanced and you said let's do super advanced and now it's back to advanced. So there's obviously there's
No.
times that are changing.
Just because I'm not using the advanced X chart,
Oh, okay.
doesn't mean I'm not doing advanced. Uh,
But
it's
how has it from 1981 or whatever your first year was until now? How has the way you played changed?
very little. Okay.
But
I always
you never did full season replays before though until recently.
I'm astonished,
Yeah.
and I have to tell you all, you could do the math. 12 times 162. It was like
Yeah.
1,400 games or
Oh,
something.
it was insane. I am jealous that you finished all 1969 every single game. That is
Now,
amazing.
I played about three-quarters of them offline,
Right.
and it was in July 29 of
Hmm.
the real world schedule within the replay. That is, I picked it up late July.
So, what was your most nostalgic memory of Stratomatic?
Uh,
Either a game you had, or just a memory you had, or maybe buying a certain set, whatever that it might happen to be.
I think that's a hard question to ask. Uh, I have several, and one might be uh, winning the championship in the basic football tournament, winning the championship
Oh, wow.
at the 73 convention. But
Wow.
now, can you handle the truth?
I can handle the truth. I'll
I
just say
cheated.
thank you and move on.
Yeah, I cheated in that.
Oh, you did cheat.
Yes, I did cheat. I had my friend give me the signals, one or two, whether it's a run or a pass,
Oh, okay.
as he was sitting right behind him, and no one picked up on it.
That's kind of like what the Houston Astros did a few years back with the trash
Yes.
cans,
Yeah, but the difference was I was 15 years old.
Yeah, well,
And I
if
was
you're not cheating, you're not trying at that age.
I think you knew about that.
Yeah, so.
But that was a nostalgic moment. A nostalgic moment is not any one moment, but a moment. You know how they'll talk about a moment in philosophy,
Mm-hmm.
a moment in a certain genre, a moment in time. A moment was the time when I was just involved with Strat-O-Matic from age 14 to 16. And with the Strat-O-Matic review, hoaxes, having fun with it. And, doing the Tom Burleson hoax. Okay, and that's it. Everyone has skeletons.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's good to get them out and get in front of them. So I have the cheating at the convention.
What did you win? Did you win any kind of
I
trophy
want
or
a black
anything?
and white TV.
A black and white TV. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And this was
Okay.
what year? Was this 73? You say
It was
1973?
73.
Okay. Wow. Interesting. So, what was the strangest or oddest occurrence you've had in your Stratomatic play? Either a game you played or
You talking
a
about?
particular season or whatever.
Are you talking about like an outcome as
Right.
you're
Yeah. Yeah.
playing? Okay.
Exactly. Like you had a triple play or you had some unusual play that
Well,
was way
I've
out of the
had
wall.
triple plays based on the rule that you have to
Hmm.
roll for it. I've had that. I've had so many, and that's really what makes.
And you've had no hitters before because I've seen it on
Well,
video.
I've had two no hitters, and I
Hmm.
guess for people who don't know of my play in Strat-O-Matic, yeah, I had Don Gullett with the 71 Reds. Now, the 71 Reds are probably the biggest collapse from one season to another.
Yeah, because they
Okay.
went to the World Series in 70 and 72, but in 71 they fell back.
They were bad. I mean, everyone had an off year. Uh, Bench hit 238. You know, it was that just was typified.
Right.
But Gullett pitched a no hitter, and I called two
Wow.
friends, and I told them, and they thought I was bullshitting them.
Yeah.
But I knew it was true. Then live on YouTube,
Yep.
documented, proven.
Hmm. Yep.
Dave McNally for the
Yep.
69 Orioles.
Yep. If it's on video and it's on live stream, you can't. There's no doctoring there, and there's no
There was the ninth
disputing
inning
it.
there. There was the
As
ninth inning. I felt like Jerry Koosman.
Yeah.
He in an interview with Howie Rose, a really good interview. It's on YouTube. Koosman talks about how he felt on the mound when he was facing Davey Johnson with 2 outs.
Mm.
I always thought that he seemed so calm,
Yeah.
and his delivery was just so measured and confident, but not overpowering. And he told Howie Rose that he was going out of his mind.
Yeah. You just covered it up apparently, or just
And
was able
he
to
just
overcome it.
threw it in there. He
Yeah.
just threw that shit in there, and Johnson flied it up
I'm sure that last roll through the dice tower was a little bit nerve wracking.
to Cleon.
Yeah.
But
Who
back
happened
to
to catch the last out of the World Series in '69?
yeah, I guess the 2 outs, I guess, are good. There might have been
Yeah.
other things. There were many things that would actually fall under the category of absurd, even.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't remember
Yeah.
them. There's so many of them.
I know I've had some, weird ones too. So I think everybody who's played has probably had some weird occurrences. Like sometimes you give a team 4 outs by accident. You don't realize it.
Oh
You lose
yeah,
track of the outs, or
yeah.
you have
Hold
the
on.
wrong pitcher up there batting against the wrong, pitching against his own team. And that's happened before. Things like that.
Oh yeah. So what else you got there in your
Midlife, I
bag?
don't think we can start over. You can always go back and watch the beginning. I don't think Jeff wants to start over. So,
Uh, I
uh,
wonder what else do you have in your bag of tricks there tonight, Dave?
I've got some more stuff coming. Don't worry.
Okay.
All right, now here's a two-part question. Part one, what is your favorite aspect of Strat-O-Matic? And it could be more than one. And letter B or part two is what is your least favorite thing or things about Strat-O-Matic?
Well, I guess my favorite is flow.
Mhm.
I think it has a good flow, but it's not too much.
Right.
It's like a slow gallop. Uh, I think it seems to make sense. I could use the word it's statistically reliable
Mm-hmm.
with variation, of course. And when people
Yes.
variate, I mean, the Twins are 18-2
Right.
in my 62 replay, and I'm starting to worry.
Well, I mean, anything with dice rolls, it's odds and chances, so you never know when it comes to
Yeah, but
dice.
they're
Dice
18
have
and 2.
well, that's going to even out over the long term, though. I would
We
think.
hope.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
What about your least favorite thing? Is there
Least
anything
favorite,
that you don't like about either the game company itself, the way they produce the games, or the actual game engine?
you know, if I were to pick a least favorite, uh, it would be just a hodgepodge of little things. I don't like pop out on the advanced fielding, pop out, a pass ball followed by pop out.
Oh no,
That's
I think it's wild pitch and pop out.
it's both.
Oh, it's both of them. Okay, yeah, but yeah, that's why I don't play the advance myself because I didn't like that on the catcher X.
I think what it is juvenile.
Yeah.
Okay, absolutely juvenile, but that's about it.
Okay.
I guess the price does seem high.
Well, the shipping does to me. I don't know about the card
Well,
prices
you compare
themselves.
it to others. I mean, the prices are premium.
Yeah, but they're going to say they're the best game, so if you want the best, you pay for the best. I'm playing devil's advocate, of course.
Yeah, sure, I
So,
can understand that.
uh, so when you play, what are the rules? I know you play mostly advanced, and you have some super advanced,
Well, wait a minute.
mixed in.
I object to your categorization as I play advanced. I think I play a
You
hybrid.
play super advanced with the hybrid of advanced mixed in.
I call it a hybrid of the
Okay.
two. Of the two.
Okay. All right. And what was the reason from going from the super advanced fielding to the advanced fielding?
Well, I don't. I found it to be emotionally and behaviorally uh, annoying,
Hmm.
tedious, uh, tiring. And I said, I'm here to have a good time.
Right.
And if it's good enough for Spokane Steve,
Yep.
it's freaking good enough for me. You know
And I
that?
noticed you've gone through a couple of those super advanced charts that have been falling apart on you and had
Oh,
tape on them
yeah.
and everything else. So, but one thing I did notice is that when Spokane Steve does his, he re-rolls all the dice for the X chance. But when you roll whatever's on that devil die, that's what you go to first before you re-roll anything else. You check to
That's
see if,
correct.
yeah,
And both are valid. And I think
yes.
mine is valid because the red die on that particular roll.
If it wasn't used, you can use it, for that, you know.
It has to be used.
Yeah.
My rule generally with the devil die is if it can be used, use
Right.
it.
Don't use it, you'll lose it, right?
Right. Exactly.
All right, now I know you don't have the Strat computer
Right.
game.
Right.
So you keep your stats on Excel, or
No,
how do you
I keep
organize
my
your stats?
stats, and in fact,
Or is it hand
I could
or is it
show it
hand
to you if you like.
Okay, sure.
I think that's what you're asking.
Yeah.
Uh,
I know you don't keep all the stats. You keep like the big stats like
yeah, I have a
wins by
file.
pitches, home runs and stuff like that. So,
Exactly. Here's my file SOM.
okay.
Okay, right here, and I open
Okay.
that up, and I can open up say 62 replay, and we have
Okay.
stats. Just to show you how stats are, what they do. Like this is a program called Numbers.
Oh, okay. It looks sort of like Excel, but not,
Exactly, and it's very easy. I really feel comfortable with it. It's
I've never heard of
made
that program before.
it's made by Apple.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you got an iMac. See, I don't have an iMac.
Yes,
That's the
so
problem.
it's made by Apple, and it works great.
Oh,
And I'm having a good
awesome.
time with it. It's really simple to just enter that data in
Right.
uh, after every game, and as a point, I do it immediately after, except for extraneous circumstances where I'm just too tired.
Yeah, I understand that. All right, now I'm going to go off the rail a little bit with a non-strat question for you
Okay, okay,
because I'm very curious as to your endearment, I guess is the right word for it. And I'm trying to think of the right adjective here. Your endearment, your uh, what's the right word for it? Your interest, I should
yeah,
say, in JFK, because I noticed you have a
yes.
lot of JFK videos on there. So was it the fact that he was assassinated that got the interest, or there was something about his personality, or both?
It's a good question. I only really knew him as assassinated.
Mm,
I knew of him that he was the president and he was a man and he had dark hair, even though he actually had auburn hair.
right.
Uh, Fascinated by the assassination, and I just want to try to convey this to everybody. I would be what you would call like a JFK student, life student, and my interest peaked and plateaued at that peak. It always has. But I had a resurgence of it, sort of an
Mm,
exacerbation of it, starting about 6 months ago,
mm, okay.
upon viewing the morgue photograph of his face, the autopsy photo.
Mm,
It's haunting, and I'm not trying to, scare anybody, but I really got into it, and I'm just fascinated. And then you can look at his legacy. He was a
right.
visionary. He was a visionary. Didn't get too much done. He got the so I don't overrate him, but he did have the vision for space, the moon. Uh,
Right.
he was a cold warrior. Uh, he was surprisingly, based on today's values, conservative, and I'm talking authentic conservative, not the
Mm,
neo that exists today. So I'm just totally, and if it's possible, this is what I wanted to convey, and I'll just reinforce it this way. If I could convey to all of you that think about a guy, me, who happens to be sitting in kindergarten, hears the president has been shot, and turns to his teacher and asks, "Am I going to get shot?" Of which she assured me no. And from there, an unfolding where I happen to be a history JFK
mm,
buff. But now it's gotten stronger 6 months ago when I saw that autopsy photo because it clicked for me that he was riding in that car and he turned, and that this is what he ended up looking like.
mm,
It just
mm.
blows my mind. Has JFK influenced you in any significant way?
Not really, because it was kind of before my time.
Yeah.
I do know that the way they did with 9/11, they did a comparison. Like
Yeah.
where you were when you heard that Kennedy
Yeah.
got shot, just like where you were when you heard about the towers. It's kind of the same kind of
And it is that kind of
moment,
that, and it does have. It's hard to compare the two, but you can try to understand big impact uh, with JFK. I say try to put it in the frame of a Lincoln assassination,
right?
and it's the state funeral, the caisson. It was just unbelievable time in America.
Mm,
And then you had '68
right.
with MLK and RFK getting assassinated. So
Yeah, and that's all right around Vietnam and everything else. So
yeah, and by the way, just to bring it back to the Strat-O-Matic for a second, I'm seriously considering not getting 2024 and instead getting what really my heart is on 1968, 27 players on average per team.
yeah, I mean, it's going to be very similar to '69, except the offense is going to be way down because everything's catered to pitching. But I mean, the players are going to be pretty much on the same teams because there wasn't a lot
It's
of
kind
movement
of
back
good.
then.
I
But
like it, and there'll be some players that weren't.
right,
Not many, maybe,
yeah,
but there'll be some for sure.
yeah.
And
But you had talked about Kennedy and in his space program and everything like that. And the one line I remember from him was he said, "We don't go to the moon because it's easy. We go there because it's hard."
yeah, yeah,
And
and
that's the one line that stuck with me from him.
it's good. It's good that something stuck with you.
Yeah.
Uh, he also cited Mallory, who was an explorer who climbed. I think he was the first or one of the first to actually climb to Mount. What's the mountain again?
Mount Everest.
Yes, Mount Everest. And Mallory, and they asked him why. And actually, Kennedy has said this in a speech. He said this why in that speech, and that was at
Hmm.
Rice University. Why do you climb the highest mountain? He said because it's there,
Yes, because it's
and
there. Yeah,
space is there.
exactly.
Now, do you know that Ted Sorensen?
Don't know that name now.
He was Kennedy's speechwriter. He was Kennedy's words. He was a genius in the humanities. Okay, and he wrote those speeches.
Hmm.
Kennedy would review them, edit them, make suggestions. He would.
So he coined the phrase, "Ask not what you can do for your country, but what your
Both
country."
of them did. Both of them claim they don't remember who came
Hmm.
up with that.
I mean, it's such an iconic line. Somebody's got to take credit for it,
Yeah, no, I guess they decided, hey, let's just take a draw on that one.
Okay.
The
Now,
truth
Bobby
is,
Kennedy, I don't know that much about Bobby Kennedy because he's not obviously as well known as his brother, but
well, Bobby Kennedy, almost even more idealism,
hmm,
was uh, in his 1968 campaign,
hmm,
and he's 42, and he'd be the youngest.
yeah.
He'd be the youngest. A lot of
I do
idealism.
admit I do miss your 2021 replay. I miss you not doing those games, and the pronunciations are priceless.
Uh, the 2021 games.
Yes,
Uh,
I know you
I
said you got
have one.
frustrated with the modern season, so.
Yeah, I have one here, which is scheduled for Saturday.
Oh, you are still playing. I thought you had kind of put that to the side and
No,
was just doing 62.
I might go through it, but I got to tell
Oh,
you,
okay.
to me, it's a form of drudgery.
With 2021?
Well, in a way, but I
Is
guess
that
it might.
because of all the pitching or pitching
No,
changes
well,
and
that's one thing, and also uh, putting the frickin' teams together.
Oh yeah, yeah. And there's a lot of player movement back and forth. You don't know where a player might be, and
Yeah, and it
so
takes a lot of time. It takes me half an hour just to set it up if I'm lucky.
yeah, yeah. You've done some videos just on the setup before it took a half an hour.
Yeah. And I'm starting to rethink. Maybe 24 is not for me. I guess it would be
Yeah.
cool to have Judge and whatever, but who needs it?
I mean, you got him in 21 if you need him. So I mean, he's there. So
Yeah,
not as prolific, but he's there. But I think 68 would fit your style very, very nicely.
exactly. And last night I went on YouTube and I did a search of the year 68. First of all, there's a documentary for like 40 minutes on baseball, 1968.
Oh wow.
And it talks about the riots, race riots, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
in Detroit. And the Tigers did an important thing. This is when, again, during the baseball season, uh, Martin Luther King Jr. is assassinated. And I think that's April.
Mm.
But then in June, RFK is assassinated. At the speech, right before he was shot, the first thing he said, I congratulate Don Drysdale for his 5th shutout in a row.
Oh wow.
And everyone clapped
Mm.
because, this was his constituency of people in California, and LA is the biggest city. And he had Cesar Chavez involved, so, and the RFK assassination, in contrast to the JFK, was one of it. I think it's the wrong question to ask. Is which was more shocking? I think, in a way, the most repulsively uh, painful was RFK. I mean, this is the second one who got assassinated.
Mm.
And this was after MLK. So what's going on with this country?
Right.
And I was 10, so I was really
Mm.
into it.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, and I didn't even realize this until I think I read something on it that on December 8th was that the anniversary of the John Lennon shooting.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was that we were that around that time frame.
Yeah,
But
and that goes to show you,
I do
uh,
remember that because I remember watching the Monday Night Football game and Howard Cosell came on there and made the announcement.
yeah, the exactly, yeah. In fact, I don't know why. I guess it's close to the anniversary. I just there was a couple things on it on YouTube, but I was Beatles. I was a huge Beatle fan from the moment my parents bought the first album.
The
I
White
was
Album, is that the one?
No,
Oh, it
that was
wasn't the White.
later. That was
Oh, okay.
later.
Oh,
But
okay.
I was with them from the beginning
Oh,
of
okay.
when they came to America. They had been
Hmm.
going for about 5, 6 years in Germany, Hamburg, and then they got big finally in England.
Mm.
And then they came to America in '64. I was right into it. And Lennon was always my favorite. Although I recognized him as a very fallible human being, but an unbelievably gifted human being, and someone who, and I heard Elton John say this at a concert. I saw a recording of it. The greatest songwriter who ever lived, John Lennon.
Mm.
Now that's high praise.
I would think so, especially from Elton John, because he had Bernie
Yeah,
Taupin and some other guys writing for him. So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but
That's high praise. He may not turn out the ditties that
right,
McCartney did,
right.
but there are moments of John Lennon that are,
So, did you ever follow like McCartney and Wings, or did you just it
well,
wasn't the
yeah,
Beatles,
sure,
so
I
you
did.
didn't?
Yeah, no, sure, I did
Uh,
follow, and I love his solo work, his early solo work when he did. I loved his first album, McCartney.
Mm.
I liked. I'll tell you, he did. Red Rose Speedway. I know people are sick of it, but the song "My Love" is a masterpiece.
Mm-hmm.
And I know people are sick of it, or they think it's sentimental or sappy. But what it says,
Right.
and when the cupboard's bare, I'll always find something there with my love.
Yeah. It's
And
classic.
oh yeah, and of course, I thought the beginning of the song "Band on the Run"
Mm-hmm.
should go on. In other words, you have that part, and then
Right.
maybe you go into something else, but then come back to that and make that the theme of the song. Do
Right.
do 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 do.
It's almost like two separate songs.
Exactly, and if I ever get out of here,
Yeah.
that is the really a really exciting moment in his musicology. Of course, "Yesterday" by music critics they call the greatest song he ever wrote,
Hmm.
even though we're sick of it.
Yeah.
But I identified with Lennon as a person, not so much his music. Also, you know.
Well, he certainly had the most famous wife of the group. That's for sure.
Well, what can be said about that is that it was very popular to hate her when the Beatles were together.
Mm-hmm.
To see her as a pain in the ass and just bizarre, and. They were breaking up. We knew they were breaking up. In fact, when Let It Be came out, we knew they broke up.
Mm.
And people like to blame. It's ecosystemic, if you will. It's sort of a system of things. They were all going in their own directions. Okay,
Mm. Yeah.
and they could not stay together anymore.
Yeah. All right. Let me go back to Strat-O-Matic briefly,
Yeah.
if
Well,
you don't mind.
sure.
Because I noticed you play at least like almost 2 games a day, I think, on video, correct? Like one in the morning,
Well,
one in the afternoon, in that your usual schedule. When you, if you're feeling up to it, you kind of like to do one in the morning and then one in the early afternoon. Is that?
well, I know I'm getting back to one a day.
Oh, okay.
No, I made that shift about 3 days ago.
Oh, okay. Because I remember before, it used to be when I
Yeah,
got up, you already
too
had a
much.
video going,
Yeah,
and what I was thinking you were doing the 2 a day. I was going to say, what would you be doing if you weren't doing Strat-O-Matic? How would you fill your time if you weren't
yeah,
doing
and I'm
Strat-O-Matic?
and well, I am doing less. I'm learning to do Stratomatic as a novelty.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Have you had any desires to learn any other games besides Stratomatic, or you
I
just kind of
I
just
haven't had a very if you're talking desire,
yeah,
as in a visceral.
or curiosity maybe even?
Yes, I've had some, and I got so far as to I think ask you
Hmm.
what you would recommend, and I think you said payoff pitch.
Actually, I said inside pitch.
Oh, inside pitch.
Yes.
You understand it's hard to remember
Yeah.
all
No,
of
that's fine. Well, they're both good games. Either one
that. At
would be
inside pitch,
fine.
I could easily teach it to myself.
Yes, and there's lots of how-to videos on YouTube about it as well.
Uh,
If you wanted to go, I mean, that's
of course,
if you
yeah,
wanted to do something a little different, just to try a
yeah.
challenge or
Then
whatever
the
that.
other thing I could do if I wanted does
Or you could
APBA?
bring back the Strat football. You used to do that at one point too.
Yeah, yeah, no, but football, I got to tell you, that's not for me.
That seems hard to do solitaire though.
It used to be easy when years ago. The game has been made more complicated now.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
you ever do
So
football?
I well, if you saw, I did an unboxing here a couple days ago
Okay,
that I did purchase a football game, and not Stratomatic, but a different one.
I got
So
to tell you,
I am gonna try to learn that.
I'm going to tell you. Oh, so you have never played
I
it.
own Strat-O-Matic football, but never really got a chance to play it because I couldn't figure out how to do it solo. I was like, okay, if you're going to call a play, well, the defense knows what you're calling, so the defense can call a good play and stop it.
First of all, you start with the kickoff.
Yeah.
You start with, I guess, a roll of the coin
Mm-hmm.
is the tradition, and there is something called the advanced or the advanced solitaire chart, which based on a roll,
Mm-hmm.
which you do every time, it'll tell you what the decision is.
Right. Well, one of the reasons why I stick to baseball is there's no
But you have to
time
use
limit.
that. You got to use
Yeah.
that. Go ahead.
There's no time in baseball. All the other sports have a clock.
Yes.
And I prefer a game that does not have a clock. I don't want to play a game on the tabletop and have to worry about how much time is left in the game. That to me seems to be a
But
little
isn't that
distracting.
a part of the game?
Oh, it's part of their actual game, yes, but it's just that's why I prefer baseball. There's no
No,
time.
but I mean, doesn't that make it exciting if it's football, basketball, to have like only 2 minutes left and you're tied, or
In real world, yes, but on the tabletop, I'm not sure it would
I would think
translate to
on the
that.
tabletop, and I you don't mind if I differ with you,
No, go right ahead. We don't have to agree on everything. We don't have to agree
right?
on anything.
I think that makes the game exciting.
Yeah, possibly. But I'll see. With this game here, maybe the way to track time is made easy, and it will be
It is
seamless to me.
relatively easy. You got to remember to do it though.
Yeah, I mean, I can see myself running a couple plays. Say, oh, I forgot to move the clock. What? How much time is left now? So unless I say, okay, well, each team gets 3
No, you
drives
really
a
got to
half or
be
something.
you got to be very diligent about it,
Yeah, yeah,
and maybe you'll mess it up a little bit, but it's really about low errors,
yeah.
and most of the time getting it on a regular play. For example, a run,
Hmm.
a pass, it moves 2 spots.
Okay,
It moves 30 seconds,
right.
and on
So I
some
think
things like
if it's out of bounds or a kick or an incomplete pass, it's 15 seconds or
I
something
think
like that.
so. I think
Yeah.
so. Uh, and it's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm just such a baseball person, but I felt like I needed to branch out a little bit, so to try to expand my horizons. So
I hear people say that they think uh, football is good face to face, and I guess there's some truth to that.
yeah, I could see that being a much better game face to face. And then I also heard Strat only has like 1972, and it's like their only season they have or something like that.
Well,
So
no, they have. I think they have other seasons, but maybe you're right. Maybe you're right.
or just so few seasons, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, that was the only one that had any allure.
Yeah,
Look at the season it was.
yeah, the perfect Dolphin season. So
Right, and the great Washington Redskins, who were
yeah,
favored. They were favored, even though the Dolphins were undefeated,
yeah,
favored to win
yep,
by about 3 points or something like that.
yep, absolutely. So, but I just feel like, to use another great movie line, all baseball and no variety makes demos a dull boy. So
Oh,
if you remember that line.
yeah. So you're saying it's yeah, but you're still staying in the gaming domain.
Oh yeah, definitely not sports gaming, nothing else. So,
Yeah, you're just
but I bought a hockey game and a football game, so I'm
yeah.
looking to expand my
I saw
horizons.
something that I thought was very cool. I saw it last night, and this has actually become conversational. This interview,
Hmm.
you know that?
I'm not sure what you mean.
No, it's good.
Oh,
It's like it turned into a conversation because I think that's a better title for these things. Uh,
well, I don't think you want to be grilled or anything. So.
oh no, no, I don't want to be grilled. Yeah, you remember the movie Towering Inferno?
Vaguely.
Vaguely.
I don't remember any lines about it. That's for sure.
It had
But
a,
I
it
mean,
had
I
a,
know the gist of the movie is a burning building. But
yeah, it had a star-studded cast.
I remember the Poseidon Adventure much better. But
Oh yeah, that was
with Gene Hackman, and
Hackman was great.
Shirley Winters, and some others.
Borgnine was great.
Yeah.
They were really something,
Great actors. It's too bad the special effects, back then weren't as good as they are now, or it would have
Well, I
looked,
guess
so
because
much
they're
better.
computerized now, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and I used to I thought it was kind of sappy, but the theme, the song that young lady sings.
On which
There's
movie?
got to be
The morning after. That's the Poseidon Adventure, right? Yeah.
Huh? Yeah.
That's the Poseidon Adventure theme, right?
Yeah.
Morning
It kind
after.
of
Yeah.
fit. It kind of
Yeah.
fit with it. There's got to be a
Yeah,
morning.
because they get rescued in the morning, right? I mean, they survive all night and get
I
rescued in the
guess
morning.
so. Yeah, I guess so. And she died eventually, I believe.
Yeah, Shirley. Yeah, she died from trying to swim
And
too
I think
far.
it was Hackman who said, "Oh no, not this lady."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because he
Not
was a
this.
priest. He played a priest in the movie. So
Oh, was he a priest?
yeah, he was a priest.
Know that. But
Yep.
Poseidon Adventure is good. In fact, I looked on YouTube and I found free movies. I was able to watch Airport and I forget what if it's Airport 75, the one with Karen Black and
Yeah,
Charlton.
they have free. You have to watch a few ads, but that's about it.
Yeah,
There's nothing.
Charlton Heston and Karen Black. Do you remember?
I don't remember Karen Black.
Do you know who she was?
No, the name
Okay.
doesn't even sound familiar.
Okay. So, and I enjoyed watching that. Sometimes I'll put Nowhere. I can't pronounce it. Noir.
Yeah, I don't know
Phil.
that. Is is that with Karen Black?
No. It's a genre of film,
Oh, okay.
like from the 40s and 50s,
Oh, okay.
of criminals and all sorts of it's just sort of dark
Yeah.
themes.
So this can lead into the next question. What is your favorite movie of all time if you had to pick one?
No doubt about it. The Godfather.
The first God, the original.
The original.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's just based, folks, you got to realize that's just based, first of all, on a Eurocentric perspective. I know there's foreign films. I thought the foreign film, what was it called? Life is Beautiful? Or the foreign film about the producer who, as there were some great foreign films, but The Godfather, and my second is Raging Bull.
Oh, about the boxer.
Yeah, in terms of, I'm talking production values,
Oh, okay.
cinematography, it was almost flawless. And my third favorite is the satire, Network.
I've heard of it.
That's worth seeing.
Hmm. I thought you would like The Diner or something like that. Oh, did we lose him? Oh, there you are. You're black on my screen for some reason.
Okay, no,
Oh, there
I'm
you.
back.
Now you're back. Now you're
Yeah,
back. Okay, I didn't
I'm
know what
back.
happened there.
So what
I
else
think there
you
was a
got?
movie called. I think there was a movie called Diner, wasn't there?
Yeah, I never saw it.
Oh, you never did. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I was dizzy earlier, and now I feel great.
Oh, okay.
I
Well, that's good. It's good to feel great.
Yeah. So what else you got
So,
there?
is there anything else that I haven't asked you that you might have expected me to ask you or wanted me to ask you
Well,
that your viewers would want to know about you that I didn't cover?
for me to say, what I wanted you to ask me, I think I'm afraid would be a potentially egocentric thing to do.
Oh, okay.
As if I'm fishing for trying to. So I'm willing to answer any question.
Okay.
But I'm not. I would put that aside
Okay.
and not
Well,
push
all right. Well, how about
anything.
if we open it up to the floor for
Okay.
anybody that might have a direct question for you?
Yeah.
Everything you want to know about Jeff, but we're afraid to ask. And if you want to chime in, then we'll see if Jeff will answer it for you.
Uh,
Now, what with the number of games that Jeffrey plays, how does he keep up his enthusiasm to play them?
well, that's a great question, and Kenyon, I'm not sure quite how I keep it up, but
Coffee helps, I'm sure.
coffee helps a lot. I think cutting down to one a day
Hmm.
is more manageable for me.
Yeah.
And I think that may be just a kind of thing that can, if you're trying to play too much
Right.
of anything is no good.
Yeah. And I would think the interaction of the chat keeps you motivated too. Being able
That
to interact with the community and whatnot
well,
during each game.
exactly, and the whole thing of it to me,
It's
it's
almost like the
my
game is in the background and you're just communicating with the community and the game just happens in the background,
yeah, or the game just happens. It happens to occur.
Yeah.
You know, game is running, but I think cutting down to one a day will help me keep the enthusiasm. And then the other
Yeah.
thing I like to do is I like to, and I felt this way today pretty much. And I had brewed new coffee. It's a 1 o'clock start today. And I said, look, if you're going to do a game at 1 p.m. every day so people know it's there.
Right. It's like like your soap opera that comes on at 1 o'clock every Days of Our
Exactly.
Lives or something.
Exactly. And of course, there could be exceptions to it.
Hmm.
But I set mine up for today and I feel very, very pleased. I can't even remember what the outcome was. Oh, yeah. The Twins won again.
Yeah.
They're 18-2.
That was Jim Kittycott was pitching that.
Yeah, he got no decision.
Right. But they still won the game, so he
They
kept them
won
in
the
the
game.
game.
And he pitched
So
great.
yeah, no doubt about it. Um, Philip has a question, but I don't. He says,
Oh,
"What
I'm
is your
trying to
second?"
look.
Says,
I
"What is
can't
your
keep my
second favorite
glasses on
baseball
here.
engine?" But I'm not sure he has a second favorite. I think Strat's always played, if I
Yeah, I'm not
remember
sure what he
correctly.
means by engine.
He's talking about another game like Inside Pitch,
Yeah,
APA,
no. I don't
but
have one, Philip,
yeah,
because I only do Strat-O-Matic.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it would be a lot for me to try to have to learn a new game.
yeah.
Remember, I'm a 66-year-old man. My health is not that great.
And then it could also be if you learn another game, then all of a sudden you start thinking of different rules from one game to the other. Go back to Strat. Wait a minute, there's this other rule, and the rules can start to get a little confusing sometimes.
Is that your experience?
It's happened in the past, yes.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't need that in my
Yeah.
life. Yeah,
Now, one thing also that might energize you, I guess, to piggyback on his question, I know it does for me anyway, is to watch other people play it. That gets me enthused to go out and play myself when I see other people
you're right.
having fun playing it, whether it's Spokane Steve or whoever,
Exactly.
or
And,
yourself or whoever.
and I want to tell you something. I was looking for your broadcast last evening at 7 Eastern.
Oh, I was late. I didn't come until about 8.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I missed it. I did pick up a little bit of it today. Uh, and Spokane Steve every day at 4:30.
Yep.
And you see my favorite baseball season, Spokane Steve. Yes, what is my favorite baseball season? You know, it's hard to pick one, but if I had to, it would have to be 69.
That's what I would have guessed if I had to guess.
And I got to tell you, you'd be very challenged to find a year that was more amazing. First of all, it was the first year of divisions.
Yep.
That's a big deal.
Yep. Sure was. And
And
expansion teams. So.
Huh?
And the expansion teams, you know.
The expansion teams. It was Montreal, San Diego, Seattle, and Kansas City.
Yep.
And the Mets won it all. It's just unbelievable how they
And it was
won it all.
amazing that the White Sox actually finished below the expansion teams. That was crazy.
Yeah, it really is. The White Sox were just a bad team, and I guess when I was experiencing some losses by them, some bad play, I had to on several occasions throughout the replay remind myself they're bad.
JC Sports Replay asks what's missing. I'm not sure the context of that, so I'm not
Wow, a
sure.
lot is missing. Probably the one thing most of all that's missing in my life is peace of mind.
Oh, he's asking about your life, not Strat. Okay.
I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. But if he's asked what's missing from Strat-O-Matic, it's a good question. I don't think a lot. What I think would be nice is if they had an imagination that they come up with a new system for rare play. It shouldn't be on X. It shouldn't be on X rolls.
Yeah.
It should be a new kind of system, and you have to think it through, make it simple, but then you refer to a chart that is dense on all
Okay.
these different roles of things.
Oh, he said he did this deliberately to make it vague and open. Okay, so
And
that's why.
you'd have ejections in there.
Yeah.
They wouldn't happen often, and I guess you'd have to have an ejection rating.
Right. That's kind of hard to. That's kind of hard to program in there, huh?
Well, depending on how argumentative
Now I do. I mean, some people do home brews. Like if you have more than 2 hit by pitches, like the third hit by pitch is an automatic ejection or something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've toyed with that.
Yeah.
And I think it even happened once, but
Yeah.
I decided, you know what? It's not in the rules.
Kenyon, I will answer yes to that myself, but I'll let Jeff give you his answer. But my answer is an unadulterated yes.
Yeah. Kenyon asks, "Is Jeffrey like me, where I think there are too many infield lineouts on the cards?" My answer is I don't know. Okay, maybe should they be pop outs? Should they be ground outs? Some of them. I don't know.
I think part of it is because the failed ballpark uh, base hit chances default to a line out, so that adds to the line outs.
What does?
When you have a ballpark single chance and it
course.
fails, it's either a line out to second or a line out to short. I think you've even done line out to third just to be different.
Yeah, and he said on the cards. Well, that would be part of on the cards.
Yeah, the
Sure.
ballpark thing is on the cards.
Yeah. Ballpark slash, ballpark blast.
Yeah.
When I see a line out, and this is I try to be simple.
Mm-hmm.
I see a line out to be as good as a strikeout in that nobody is advancing.
Right.
It's a clean out.
Mm-hmm.
And so it doesn't really matter to me whether it's a line out. Let's say the same thing with the fly ball C.
Right. They're not going anywhere. So.
Right. So I think those are clean outs, and those are very good with runners on base.
Absolutely.
Any others?
Anybody else have a question for Jeff? Now's the time to
Maybe
fire away and
maybe
ask.
some of you want to talk about my history of sexuality. Maybe. I mean, we are sexual beings, and
oh, here we go. We got another question from JC.
Who was your favorite player as a kid? That's a great. I love that question. My favorite player as a kid was really first of all, it was Koufax, but I was a bit young to really appreciate. And then it was Billy Williams. I thought Williams, I was a Cubs fan from 70 to 73. And I was a very avid fan, knew the team well. And I thought Billy Williams, and he had 1 year where he was second in MVP to bench. I think it was 72. Now, my favorite two players of all time are Koufax and Robinson. And
talking about Jackie, not Frank, right?
Yeah, and actually, I refer to him as Jack because
Yeah.
he referred to himself as Jack, and that nickname was tagged on to him. But Jack Robinson, it's kind of unusual. It's counterintuitive,
Right.
But just for all he did, all he withstood. Now I understand there's people right behind him. There's Larry Doby, Minnie Minoso, Satchel Paige. But he was the first. He was a Dodger. My father was a Dodger fan. He saw Robinson live. And Koufax, because I think for 4 or 5 years, he was the greatest. He was almost unhittable.
Yep. He had a 5-year period where he was outstanding, 61 to 66.
And his career is a fascinating career because it's one where he was effective in college, but wild. And he made his way onto the Brooklyn team in '55. He was erratic. He was wild, and then he just let up hits because he was walking too many people. And I don't know who told him, but legend has it. I think it was the pitching coach who was a catcher or something like that. Just let up a little.
Don't throw so hard.
Exactly.
You don't throw so hard. Yep.
And when he did that, suddenly, and I mean suddenly, he became unhittable.
Yep.
And that kind of transformation. So his career was, 2 parts. And just how he ended in '66, the pain he withstood. I have a theory that Koufax pushed himself even beyond the limitations of his biology. He was hyper competitive. You didn't really see that in his demeanor, but he was hyper competitive.
Spokane Steve said it was Norm Sherry that might have done that.
I think he's right. I think it was Norm Sherry. And what a, Spokane Steve, what a fascinating thing to think about, that sort of development of Koufax.
Yep. And Ron asked a question about using Strat as a form of escape from the stresses of everyday life.
What's that now?
Is that Ron?
I'm reading
is asking
it.
you.
I just pulled it up here.
Yeah.
Do you find playing Strat helps to strengthen your ability to escape temporarily the everyday grind of life? I think it kind of helps clear my mind for a few hours, then get back to
whatever reality.
Reality. And I think the answer is a resounding yes, Ron. And that's embedded in it. I'm glad you underscored that, because to me, Strat-O-Matic helps me do several things. First of all, it distracts me from my problems temporarily. It occupies me, which is important. And I think there's a third one. I'm not sure what. Oh, it helps me actually cope with anxiety. It relaxes me.
Right, absolutely, because of the flow. It's just a nice flowing game.
Absolutely. So,
And also for me, I might be for you as well, but it's a way to keep the old neurons flow, sharp, and because you have to
I've said
think a
that.
little bit. So.
I've said that to myself, sort of as a rationalization for playing.
Yeah.
I said, Jeff, you better do this whether you want to or not.
Just like doing a crossword puzzle or anything else, it's something
Yeah,
that keeps the mind active, because you got to
absolutely.
exercise the mind the way you exercise your body,
Yeah,
especially as we get
absolutely.
older. So now I had another question for you, that since I don't see any other questions
Yeah.
at the moment down here, who is the one guy that's not in the Hall of Fame that you think should be there?
Well, Dick Allen and
Well, Parker and Allen just got in, so
they just got in, and isn't it
yeah.
a shame that
It's a shame that it took him. He didn't get in until he passed. That's the
right?
bad part.
Isn't that an awful, awful shame? And it puts a bad taste in my mouth about the Hall of Fame, the arbitrariness of it,
Mm-hmm.
arbitrariness. Uh, and also, I don't know. Is it watered down now? Have some people gotten into it who you wonder, do they really have the numbers? To me,
Yeah,
numbers are big.
yeah,
Uh, 500 homers.
but not for everybody, because if you look at it, Sandy Koufax just doesn't have the numbers for his
Exactly.
whole career. He had a 5-year period where he was dominant, and he got in based on that.
Exactly.
He doesn't have 300 wins. He doesn't have all these other stats. He just has
Yeah.
that 5-year period that was just so outstanding that it left an impression. They said, well, he's got to be in there.
Yeah, which is pretty remarkable. In a
But then
way,
a guy like Tommy John's not in there. He's got a surgery named after him. And he's got 270 something wins. Got pitched forever. To me, he should be in just based on the surgery, if nothing else.
Yeah, that's funny as hell.
Kenny has put in a couple guys, Veda Pinson and Al Oliver, and John has put in Rocky Colavito, who just recently passed as well.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, yeah, JC asked, does routine play a big part in your mental health? I guess it does, to the extent that when you have a proneness to worry, that having some sort of structure, it may sound juvenile, but having some sort of structure in your life can help.
Well, I guess if now the way your schedule is, if you know it every day at 1 o'clock, you got a game going, then that kind of,
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
be something to help you out. Say, okay, I got to get ready for my game, which you probably
Right.
start at least a half hour ahead of time before you start the recording or
Right.
the stream. You probably prep about a half hour
Well,
before, most likely.
it varies. Sometimes it's been prepped. Like I have one that's prepped over. This one's prepped.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I just need to set up the lineups and put in the fielding ratings.
See, I kind of cheat after I do my game. After the video's over, I already prep the next game while I'm sitting there. I don't prep it the same. I prep it like the time before.
Yeah,
So
I did here.
My next video for this weekend has already been prepped. So I'm already ready to go.
I'm ready to go. You see this?
I see that Pittsburgh and San Francisco.
Yeah, that's 1 o'clock tomorrow, and
I know who Marshall is. I don't know who Francis is.
Earl
the pitcher
Francis.
for Pittsburgh. Earl Francis. I've never heard of him.
Yes, Earl. I heard of him through Strat-O-Matic.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of guys that I see in Strat-O-Matic, like, oh, okay, I never heard of this guy, but there he is.
So I don't think there's a compare Cott to Tommy John, almost identical records. Any other questions? This has been very casual.
Yes. Are you still holding up pretty well? It's been an hour and 9 minutes. You still okay?
Yeah. You got anything else?
I'm gonna let the peanut gallery chime in if they want. I mean, I can always think of some more stuff, but I want to give them a chance to pick your brain. about Strat or life or anything for that matter.
Mm.
I got a hypothetical for you. How do you think you would like going to opening day at Strat-O-Matic in February up in New York and being in that line of people
I
that are
think I would
waiting for their
like that a
cars?
lot.
That's a lot. I'm sure there's a lot of conversations going on in line in that place.
I would really like to do that a lot.
Yeah, that's one of my what do they call those things? Bucket list things.
Well, with me, I'm cheap. I don't want to fly out.
No, I don't, it's just too far away. If it was closer, I'd do it, but it's just too
Yeah,
far
and
away.
I'll end up maybe talking to Hal Richmond for a couple minutes
Yeah.
and being cold.
Oh, it's definitely. I mean, there's a lot of times there's snow up there and everything. So.
Yeah.
But it'd be fascinating to hear about other people's replays and how they play and what they play and so forth. JC has another question for you. What are you most grateful for?
Well, that's a big question. I'm most grateful for my son and his wife, and I'm agnostic, but if I were to pray that they will be okay, that's my family.
Do they live in Florida as well? Or are they out of
Yeah,
state?
they
Oh,
live
they're in Florida.
They live about a half an hour away from
Oh,
me.
okay. So good. So you can see them if you need to see them, you can see them pretty quickly. It's not like they're in California or something. They can come see you, or you can come see them in a moment's notice, basically.
Yeah, we just went to about 2 weeks ago. We went to it's called Lester's Diner,
Hmm.
and it is so good. Okay, 24-hour a day breakfast.
Oh wow! So that leads to another question: what is your favorite food?
It's really tough to say, but if I have the sauce, the hollandaise sauce, and there's another type of sauce, the absolute best freaking filet mignon that you can get your. I mean, the stuff restaurants serve,
Right.
but better.
Yeah.
And cook it medium.
It's got to be pink in the middle, right? It can't be. If you cook it well done, it's too dried out. So.
Pink.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing beats a good steak, in my opinion.
And you have hollandaise sauce. You know that sauce?
I've heard of it. I haven't heard on steaks before, but.
You'll go to heaven temporarily if you try that.
Yeah. Wow.
Really.
So what are you snacking on now? Is that Milano's? Oh, Brussels. It's Pepperidge Farm. I thought because they make something called Milano's too. That's this type of.
I got 2 for 1.
Oh, there you go. Can't beat that.
I jump on the 2 for 1 deals.
There's a Milano. There you go.
Favorite memory, JC Sports. It's kind
JC's asking some good questions. He's asking some good questions.
Yeah, JC, this is a kind of sick kind of thing because, I could say, probably my most important memory was the moment my son was born and I saw him in the hospital, in the operating room, whatever you call it. I saw him come out. It was surreal. But on another level, my favorite memory is a very specific one. It's when my mother took me to Abraham and Strauss, the department store, to buy the White Album the day it came out. And believe it or not, I'm not shitting you, the date was November 22, 1968. 5 years.
Still remembers the date.
Well, only because it was 5 years to the day of
Mm.
Kennedy being
Oh,
assassinated.
wow.
The memory of getting it, the smell of it,
Mm.
and I just can't capture that smell, but the smell of the inside of the album, the just the poster that came with it,
Yeah.
double album, double, and it was a memory. It was the greatest memory I ever had.
I think it's something the young people now never got to experience that because part of the whole charm of the album was not just the music on the album, but the artwork that came with it.
Absolutely.
And now they just download the songs electronically. You miss all that. But
Well, now sometimes they did have albums where there was like nothing. You would get the
yeah,
album
but there
cover.
were some that were
Yeah.
like I remember I got the Goodbye Yellow Brick Road album from Elton John, and that was like a double album and really interesting.
That was his peak.
I remember the very first song was "Love Lies Bleeding in My Hands."
Mm.
"Funeral for a Friend." It was like a one song. Part of it was "Funeral for a Friend." I think it was instrumental,
Yeah.
and then "Love Lies Bleeding" was the next one right after that. So
Yeah. And the guitar in Love Lies Bleeding, really great. And the piano solo
yeah.
at one point for the they're just great moments on that song.
Yeah, and actually, I borrowed one of his lyrics, or actually one of his song titles, for an expression I like to use when somebody's trying to pull the wool over me for anything. And he had a song on that same album called "I've Seen That Movie Too."
Oh, sure. Oh, sure.
So
And I
I
like
really
his,
like that song.
I like some of his lesser known songs, and I've
Yeah.
seen that movie too. I can see by your eyes you must be
Yep.
lying,
Exactly. Yep.
saying love.
I mean, everything went to Benny and the Jets and Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, and they were good songs. But there's other songs on the album to me that
Oh
were
yeah.
more
Since you mentioned Benny and the Jets,
Yeah.
I think on some level, in terms of production, in terms of overall, it's his greatest song.
Mm. Of course, "Candle in the Wind" was kind of the more. I mean, he actually redid that when Princess Diana died because
Yeah.
they had him sing that at the funeral. But that he actually redid that song
Yeah.
a second time, which is
And he said
because
he
that
would
was on the
never
original Goodbye Yellow Brick Road album. So
he said he would never play it again. He's done anyway.
Yeah.
He really has decided to never play again. I believe it's true. Is it true that he said that's it? He's not performing ever again.
I would think he's probably getting up there in age where he probably is going to have a hard time
And
doing
he's
that.
also having trouble with his vision.
Yeah. Well, he had thick glasses back when he was younger anyway. Did you ever see the Rocket Man movie
No.
that they made about him?
No. Was it good?
It was okay. It wasn't, I mean, I learned some things in there that were interesting, but I mean, it was okay, I guess. Same with the movie about Queen. Same thing. So.
Yeah. I was a huge Elton fan during, I got into him from the beginning. And just the progression of his music. I'm not so crazy about any recent stuff he does.
Yeah.
I like early Elton.
Yep.
Do you have any? I don't know if I asked you this when I interviewed you, but do you have maybe the most intense, unforgettable, important moment in Strat-O-Matic?
You did ask me that. I really didn't have one like in a
Oh.
game. I think I had. Well, actually, I just had one the other night, a couple of nights ago, a walk-off wild pitch. That was not intense, but it was different. Um, it was two outs. Nobody. They were down by a run with 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth. Nobody on base. One guy, I think he snuck out a single. Next guy triples to tie the game, and the next batter up, a wild pitch scores the guys that tripled, and it's a walk-off wild pitch.
Maybe we should call that a no walk off wild.
Yeah, or
pitch.
whatever you want to call me. That was definitely never happened to me before.
That's pretty exciting.
Casey Cox pitched a one-hitter for me. No, Kenyon, he did not.
That is a very exciting finish. I believe that the Pirates lost to the Reds in '70.
Yeah, it was actually the game I played a couple nights ago. Chicago White Sox and Detroit. Lou Whitaker hit a triple, and then the next guy up, I don't remember who was at bat. I think it was Pat Sheridan or somebody, and the White Sox pitcher threw a wild pitch to end the game. But Lou Whitaker was the player of the game because he tripled in the tying run with 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth. And then he scored the run on the wild pitch that walked it off. And it got to the wild pitch because I was doing the havoc roll. Without the havoc roll, there wouldn't have been a wild pitch. Because I rolled a 1 on the havoc roll, and I re-rolled it again. The guy had like a 1 to 5 chance for a wild pitch, and I rolled a 3. And it's like, okay. Whiplash. I never heard of Whiplash. Have you ever heard of Whiplash? The movie?
No.
Musical movie? He says you're manhandling those Milanos.
I am so sorry, people.
It's not even Milanos. He's eating something else, not the Milanos.
I couldn't help it. I'm going to finish this one off, and that'll be it. Yeah. And I'm doing this during an interview just to show you how comfortable I am with all of you.
Brussels.
Yeah.
Now, do you like dark chocolate better than regular milk chocolate, or do you think it's 6 1 half dozen the other? Or?
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, I like to try dark chocolate. I like to try bittersweet if it's available, just for some variety. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I remember when I was a kid, they used to come out with this package of, I think it was around Christmas time. It was a package of little small candy bars. You had Mr. Good Bar, you had Crackle, you had Hershey Bar, and then they called Special Dark was the fourth one.
Yeah.
And I remember like, oh man, I threw all the Special Darks away and just went to the other stuff because I wasn't a big fan of the dark chocolate.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of grown to like dark chocolate now, but back then I saw Special Dark, I chucked it.
You were just a kid, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I guess our tastes can mature.
Oh yeah, they certainly can. They certainly can.
Yeah.
Not just in food, but in music and in everything else, in life in general.
Yeah.
So. Anybody else have anything for Jeff?
Yeah. Otherwise, we could call it a night, unless.
Yeah, because we're at we're at an hour and 23, and I don't want to. I'm sure Jeff is getting tired, and we don't want to hold him up all night, and he's got Milanos to get to and everything else. So. I got one other question for you because I guess I could go back and watch on your playlist if I really wanted to.
Yeah.
But when you first started the 69 replay on video on YouTube,
yeah.
When you first started that, what kind of engagement did you have? I mean, how long did it take you to get like a decent engagement on that? Like when you first came out with it, did you have like 5 people watching, 20 people watching?
To me, I really appreciate the question because it talks about me being able to join a community. Engagement was minimal, and I don't remember exactly when. I can't tell you exactly when it started, but ever so gradually. And I feel privileged to be a place where people want to come and watch the game.
Yeah.
And I don't get engagement like you or Spokane, but who's counting?
Yeah.
In fact, I have 500,000 followers on X, formerly Twitter. I hardly use it anymore. And I got engagement there
a lot, but I decided the size doesn't matter.
No,
It's the experience.
right. Well, I do remember when I first started watching, I first found your channel and started watching your games. Kathy Harden was like, I knew if nobody else was there, Kathy Harden was going to be there.
She,
And then later on, it picked up. I started seeing more regular type, people there.
I
But
think you're
in the
right
very
about
beginning,
that.
she was the very first one I can remember. That was, I mean, if nobody else was there, she was there.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
So I would say she's definitely was an all-star follower from the get-go.
She's been there from the beginning.
And it's almost like it's not a Jeffrey Guterman Strat video without Kathy Harden there, at least to ask a trivia question or do something,
Yeah, and and just being there with an occasional comment.
Yeah.
But she's a terrific person. She had not been on for about a few days, and I started to worry.
I remember that you were asking like, is she okay, or did we upset her or something? And I guess she just had life stuff going on.
She came back today. I think I saw her in my game.
She was there. She was there this afternoon. She was there
in my ball game, and it's great to see her there.
Anybody else have any last remarks or questions for Mr. Guterman?
Thank you, JC. Yeah,
who has been kind enough to
mellow. This was one of the most mellow interview experiences that I've had. I'm interviewing JC.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, good. On Saturday.
Okay. Well, I really enjoyed the one you did with Steve.
It's a week from Saturday.
Well, I really enjoyed the one you did with Spokane Steve. That was very insightful and learned a lot about him.
Yeah. We did.
And I was able to get the score sheet from him, so that was an extra bonus.
That's a real bonus, and we learned that he's
in a greedy way. No, he's not a hipster. But when I first saw him, the first thing I thought of, and I hope Spokane Steve does not take offense to this, but I said he looks like he might have played in the Doobie Brothers band. He kind of reminded me of one of the Doobie Brother guys.
He looks like he looks like something.
He looks like one of the guys I could see him as a younger version of him. I don't know what he would look like younger version, but the first thing that popped in my mind was one of the Doobie Brother guys in the rock band, the Doobie Brothers. But
okay,
Steve, I hope that wasn't offensive to you, but
I thought he's a hip dude.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you defined hipster, because I didn't know what hipster was either. So.
Well, sometimes you'll see a guy who is interviewed and he works for some tech company and he has purple hair, or he has some very, very countercultural attire. These are hipsters.
Oh, he used to be a drummer. He used to be a drummer in a local band in California.
Well, there you
Interesting.
Go.
All right, so there is a rock connection there.
An absolute connection.
Absolutely. You're moving over to another area, I see.
Got it on the big screen.
Got it on the big screen. That's dangerous. Get us on the big screen.
Oh, yeah.
Now, you don't want to do that.
I'm sorry.
That might be an FCC violation if you do that.
I am so sorry. I'm just stepping out for some fresh air.
Yeah, it's a little cold here to do that. At least you're in Florida, where it's warmer.
Oh, it's absolutely gorgeous here.
Plus, we got about 2 inches of rain today.
Yeah.
Which didn't help.
It's absolutely gorgeous. So gorgeous,
Oh, do we lose you? Are you still there? Lost the volume there for a second.
Yeah, we just turned the cellular on.
Okay.
You see? And now out here, you're much better with the cell.
Yep. Now somebody just drove by.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful.
And you're within walking distance of your drugstore or whatever, so it's pretty convenient, you said, right? Okay. Hmm. Well, compared to most places, that's very reasonable. Yeah, I'm jealous. I'm jealous that you're in Florida. I like to be in that weather, especially this time of year. Well, as a
Oh yeah.
I, it's not many people that would be agreed to be interviewed on their own channel. Kind of reverse the roles, because I know you prefer to be on the the interviewer, not the interviewee. So, and you'll get yeah, but then you get to pick it back up with JC next week. So, and then anybody else that wants to chime in and wants to add their name to the list. Yeah, it's not interview might be a strong word for it, but it's just a chat, just to shoot the breeze or whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of expressions for it.
Right.
Like-minded people trying to talk about like-minded subjects, I guess. And it also gives
I really
gives people a chance to know the person behind the videos that
Correct.
you might get a perception from only seeing what they stream, but you don't know other things about their life that might be curious.
Right.
So yep. I just couldn't. I remember getting up at 6 in the morning. You'd already halfway through your game. I'm like, wow, he's up like at 5 in the morning playing Strat. It's just like, whoa, too early. Too early for me. But I'm more of a.
Yeah.
I'm East Coast, same as you. So.
Right.
But I'm more of a night owl than I am a morning person. So.
Oh really?
Yeah. Like I have no problem streaming a game at 9:30 at night or something. So.
Right. And those are needed.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
good. It's good to have people at different time.
Going on. There should be a game going on 24 hours a day.
Yep. Well, there is in on demand. You can go and watch anything for but you don't get that instant feedback and chat and whatnot that you would get normally.
Right.
Maybe we should we should all team up and do like a Strat marathon where we just pass the baton from one game to the other and we have like 24 hours of Strat. Yeah. Yeah, and since Spokane Steve's on the West Coast, he could cover the late night East Coast hours by being on the West Coast. You can get about 6 people doing it. Mike Terranova and some others. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Oh, I have an idea for you. Remember when you and I played the '69 World Series in Strat? Not the World Series, the championship game, AL championship game. Oh, did you lock up on us? Are we back? You froze up on my end. Are you back? You're back now? Okay.
Yeah.
Remember when we played the '69 AL? You were Minnesota and I was Baltimore.
Yeah.
I think it would be excellent if you and Spokane Steve could play a game together like that.
We have played a game.
Oh yeah, okay. I know you did with Terranova. I wasn't sure if you did one with Spokane Steve.
Yeah,
I'll have to go back.
Way back.
I need to go back. I'll have to go back to your playlist and watch that then, because I think I remember. I think I missed that. So.
And he was pretty laid back about it.
Yeah.
Let me see if I could pull it for you. It's on my list called.
I know how you play
Some
that
of my
on. Do you have a separate
some of my
playlist of
favorite
co-ops or something?
Strat-O-Matic.
Oh, okay.
Here it is.
What's the title of it?
Oh, this is the interview. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to that yet.
Oh, okay. But you did actually play a game against each other.
We actually played a
Okay.
game.
Cool. I'll have
Yeah.
to go back and search for that.
I need to search for it also and put it on this playlist.
I'm still very jealous of him about his penmanship because mine is so terrible and his is so neat.
Yeah.
I wish I had his handwriting.
Well, as long as you can read it.
Oh, I can read it, but it doesn't do much for anybody else. But
well, at least we know it's there.
Yeah, you know it's there. Absolutely. Well, anybody else? We're at an hour and 35 minutes, and so I don't know what time is it in real world. It's 8:36 now. So
yeah, it's just about my bedtime.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're getting there pretty close.
Yeah,
and I want to go read up on the football game I just bought and try to learn the rules.
Yeah, I'm gonna go take my medicine.
Yep, there you
and do a couple other things and then hit the sack. But thanks so much for having me on.
Well, it's your channel. Thank you for inviting me to interview you.
Right. And it takes about a day. And what I'll do is I will download it and then I will upload it on Google Drive and allow you and notify you and give you the link.
Okay. Oh, Steve says it was a Giants Phillies game in '69 that you played.
Yes, it was.
I guess it's one of your regular season games, I guess.
Yes, it was.
Okay, that'll make it easier to search, so I can do that.
Yeah. Let me get this here. I think it might be Aqualung at the time.
Oh, might have been Aqualung, says Steve, Spokane Steve.
Giants, Phillies.
Giants and Phillies, 1969.
I'm going to have to go through it because we played that game.
Okay.
I just can't find it now.
Kurt, I have never had a perfect game. I had a no-hitter once, and I think Jeff has had 2 no-hitters, but I don't believe he's ever had a perfect game.
No.
In Strat, or in any game for that matter.
No. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, I look forward to your 1 o'clock tomorrow. I'll be tuning in to whatever. Usually around my lunchtime, so
yeah,
I'll be checking that out, making saying hello, and I've kind of backed off. I've kind of backed off the puns like I used to when I first got to your channel.
Oh, it's all right.
That's where I became infamous, was the puns, I guess.
Puns are fine. Puns are fine.
Yeah. But he had a no hitter for Gary Peters in APBA or APBA, as they call it.
I was thinking of trying APBA just to see what it's like. And
well, if you want to play a game that takes the less amount of thought to learn, APBA would, of all the other games, APBA would be the one to pick up as the easiest. APBA Basic would be very easy to learn.
APBA Basic.
Yep.
And they have a website called APBA Games. Is that the website?
Yep, you can buy the basic game, and I think it comes with like 4 playoff teams. It's like $25 or something like that.
I don't want 4 teams. I want all the teams.
Yeah, but I mean, just to see if you like the game, they give you a sample of teams just to see if you like the game.
But can I get the whole?
You can get you can get any season you want. They have just about any season you want from the early 1900s, even some 1800s, I guess, all the way up to present. I mean, they might be a little pricey, but you get every player. That's one thing.
I don't see.
And all the cards come in team envelopes, so you can put them in team envelopes. They're not perforated. They all come in one little long tube, and they're like playing cards. They're kind of shaped like a regular deck of playing cards, and they're all sorted alphabetical order in those little tubes. And you just grab the first set, like the Baltimore Orioles or whoever it is, and you put them in the envelope that goes that corresponds with that. I mean, it's really a neat system the way they do that. I'm not necessarily a big fan of the game itself. To me, it's kind of too simplistic with pitching, but hey,
Yeah.
like I said, play the game you want to play the way you want to play it.
Yeah. I'm looking at baseball card sets. They sure don't make this easy to.
No, the website is not exactly intuitive.
No. Okay, David. Thank you
All right,
for.
Jeff. Wait, I forgot that. Do you prefer Jeff or
It
Jeffrey, or do
doesn't
you
matter.
doesn't care? Okay, doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
not at all.
All right. Well, I do
Have a good
appreciate
night.
you trusting me to do this for you, and hopefully we presented you in a good light to your audience.
Very well.
Very well. Well, I'll check with you tomorrow during your game.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Good night. Have a good evening.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.